Hello, Senior Stoner fans. It's the real Senior Stoner back at you for your Puffco Proxy Diamond Dab of the Day. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me. As always, when you enjoyed today's video, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, send a like, and I reply to all the comments. We need to be able to turn our pain around. And today, I'm not going to talk about physical pain. I'm going to talk about the overwhelming pain we can have that pulls a shroud over our heads, a dark blanket over our heads. It could be the most difficult day of your life. It can be the darkest moment of your life. But when the pain and the fear are overwhelming, most people aren't sure they can go on. In all of our lives, there are moments of darkness and pain. And sometimes that pain seems too great to overcome. I know the feeling very well. But I've learned that there are ways to take the pain, shape it, use it, take the sharp edges off of it, and discover our true purpose. There's actually a way to turn our pain into purpose. We need to validate ourselves. Sometimes the worst pain comes from being abandoned. You feel unloved. It can happen in relationships. It can happen in business situations. Without the validation, sometimes you feel life isn't worth living. When you're not in the middle of the pain, it's easy to see how wrong the thinking is. But when you're right in the middle of it, it's hard to think any other way, or at least it is for me. When the things happen that create the pain in the depths of your heart, you feel like even the slightest breeze could bowl you right over and make you disappear. You're no longer anchored. Time over time, you realize that you're wrong. You are your own anchor. The only validation you need is the validation you give yourself. You got to accept yourself. You got to accept the pain, but you will survive the darkness. One morning you're going to wake up and say, my golly, I love you, to yourself. No matter what we were just through, I love you, to yourself. I know it sounds simple. It might even sound a little weird to people, but it works. Slowly, you'll change the way you think about yourself. It's incredible how you can go from your darkest hour to standing in the mirror saying, I love you, to yourself. And by saying those words out loud, you will feel loved and you will feel validated. You'll find your anchor in you. Remember to focus on the solutions, not the problems. The most painful days is when you spend a lot of time thinking about your problems. You turn them over in your head, ruminate and ruminate again and again. What did I do wrong? What could I have done better? Oh my God, I don't know if I can go on. And it's very easy to fall into that trap, where all we do is worry about the problems and feel sorry for ourselves. I'm guilty of doing that a lot. It's human nature, but it's also not very helpful. So there's no point in obsessing about our problems. All the energy and brain power should be focused on a solution. So when your life falls apart around you, sit down at the kitchen table with a piece of paper and find out what's wrong on one side and what's good on the other side. And you know what you'll find? You have more better than you think you did. So it's hard to see anything positive in your life when there's pain. But when you put it on paper, it's right there in front of you. It'll change the way you look at life. You'll went from writing down pros and cons sometimes to fixing your problems. Your problems will seem manageable. It will work. I promise you. It minimizes. It brings it's like a shrink. The psychologist is called a shrink for a reason. You go in with a problem like this, you come out with a problem like this. They shrunk the problem. So, you can change the way you look at life. You can. And when you eventually find out that you stop focusing on problems, you, I, anyone will start focusing on the solutions. And we'll make our life about the future, not about the past. Of course it's hard to let go of the past. No one knows that better than us, right? But guess what? Letting go of our past is long and a hard process. And it takes years. Moving on from the pain and troubles of the past take a lot of time. The past is not something you can stick into a microwave, press a button, and it's done. That's why it's important to have an understanding of how to do these things and take the time and effort, because you'll be able to not live in the past. You'll be able to get past the past and discover our future, our destiny, our potential. We need to be humble, because we need to understand that if we surrender to our anxieties, if we surrender to our stresses, if we don't change the way we think about what matters in life, we will not make the most out of that life. This is the Real Senior Stoner, and if we just try to find a few of these things to talk about with ourselves, we'll wind up in a better place, better able to handle things, and we will have ways to turn pain into purpose. This has been the Real Senior Stoner, and we have been talking about not physical pain today, but that heavy shroud of emotional pain that plagues many people. Guess what? You're not alone. You're not alone. Many people have this feeling. Many people, and we can overcome it. Turn that pain around. Turn that negative thinking around. This is the Real Senior Stoner saying we can do it. We're going to get on the dab train and help it happen. Thanks for being here, everybody. I appreciate every single one of you. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for joining the Real Senior Stoner today with the Puffco Proxy. Let's get the dab train rolling. The Diamond Dab Train. Here we go. I see vapor rising. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Turn that pain around. We can do it. Cheers.